Hey you, and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about my review of the My Hero Academia Two Heroes film that's coming out, that was in out cinemas, but it's also now coming out on Blu-ray and DVD from Manga Entertainment over here in the UK, and I'm guessing it's going to be the same in America. But before we begin this review, if you want to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, as well as check the notification bell to be notified there'll be more videos when they drop. And yeah, so without further ado, let's begin this review. One of the things I'm going to mention at the very beginning is the special features. Now there's only one special feature, and that was basically called The Making of a Hero. And this is basically the voice actors all talking about their experiences with My Hero Academia. You see behind the scenes shots of like some of the actors in the voice booth, etc, etc. We get kind of a nice feel. I did think at the very beginning of this though, it felt it was just showing much of the anime little bits, so they weren't kind of jumping into it, but when it got to kind of near halfway, you saw more of the actors talking about their experiences with the show, what they thought about it from the seasons and stuff, and I actually liked it. I normally watch them, but I was kind of engaged in this one. So let's talk about the overview. The one thing I liked in this one is it showed the story of All Might when he was in his prime, when he first started, and I thought this was kind of cool. Seeing the interaction, you know, it's a foreign exchange student that's in America from Japan, and I thought this was kind of cool, and it showed All Might not knowing everything that he knows now. Now the action scenes for this were fantastic. His whole fight scene, you know, where he thought he defeated the bad guy at the very beginning, but then realizes that he hadn't. Oh, it was kind of interesting. You saw other heroes as well, they kind of jumped in too. We're introduced to one of the main characters called Dave, and I'm so glad. I'm kind of curious to know what his name is in the Japanese one, but we have David. He is an inventor, you know, he helps All Might. And again, you see later on more backstory of how he met All Might as well. It then jumps to Deku waking All Might up, asking, hey, what's gone on? What, you know, we're almost there. And kind of like a bit of a backstory to where they're going. Now in the anime, they did actually talk about this and made an entire episode kind of talking about the film. So it was a kind of nice kind of to actually see it all pay off. The main places that Deku and All Might are going is kind of like how I would think like an Apple conference, where you're going to see more of like the support items that you get from the characters, how they use it for hero stuff. So you see like all this, and it's kind of like a big kind of talk and like a big expo, which again was kind of interesting to see. Lots of many different people there. You know, the fact that being a hero is a major big thing compared to not, and then not having any support items, etc, etc. Now one thing is, if you've not seen My Hero Academia, this kind of brings up to scratch to what happened. So Deku does explain how he got his power, what happened when he first met All Might, and it shows you all this, which I thought was kind of interesting. I generally thought it was a very fun thing to do as well. So if you've never seen My Hero Academia, it kind of gives a very brief rundown of what happened all the way through kind of season 1, or at least how Deku met All Might. We're also introduced to a new character called Melissa, and she is a genius. She is the daughter of David. She also wants to be a person that can actually make stuff for the heroes. You know, she's got this a brilliant mind that she can create things, but she is also quirkless. So Deku kind of really relates, and if he wasn't, or Raka wasn't kind of interested in each other, then I would kind of like Deku to get with Melissa, because again, they are pretty much the same, and there's definitely a huge amount of chemistry which you see all the way through this film. We meet Dave and Sam, two of the main characters in this film, and they're kind of talking about projects that is going on, things about to be finished, and this is when Melissa introduces All Might back to Dave, because again, they used to be friends, and it's kind of really nice seeing it. But what I kind of really liked was Deku geeking out towards Dave, like literally Melissa going, and this is my father Dave, and Deku just going, oh my god, you did this, you've made so much stuff. And he goes through like a list of like, this is the Silver Age, the Bronze Age, the Gold Age, the Good Old Days age. And it just reminded me a lot of DC Comics when they've made them. And it was so much fun to see Deku kind of really geek out about it. Dave knows about All Might losing his like kind of quirk, is kind of going down, and the fact that he can't keep his muscle form for very long. So he sends everybody out, says, hey, go get lunch, go take breaks. And this is when like All Might just kind of powers down. He's like, oh God, thanks. You know, I'm so glad that you were able to kind of see this in me. And then they start kind of having a conversation. In the meanwhile, Melissa is showing Deku around, you know, saying like, hey, you know, these are all the places that we see. This is all the support items. This can help you. This can do this for this hero. And Deku again geeks out. And I actually generally really like this in the anime. As Melissa and Deku are talking more about the support items, they run into Uraka, Momo, and Jiro. Gonna call her that because I can't pronounce the first name. And as they all meet up, we see Uraka is completely jealous of what's going on, and it's kind of really cute to kind of see. You kind of see maybe a little bit more later, but it's mainly more at the very beginning. They all decide to go off for tea, and we see Deki Kawamori and Mineta. Oh, okay, so this is going to be interesting, and I apologize if I say any of these names wrong. So they explain that they are there because they are wanting to explore, get money, and of course, meet all the incredible hot girls that are all about it. So again, you can see their motives all the way through this entire film. But again, it's kind of really funny on them. They're kind of two of my favorite characters. They're important characters, but then they've also got the comedy relief, which I like. We also find that Tenya is there as well, and he is saying like, everyone has to be like this, because, you know, everyone has to set an example, and he just kind of races off at times. Which again, I kind of thought, why would you want to race off? The gang decide to go off and kind of explore, and they come up to this kind of like, I wouldn't say like kind of assault course type thing, with Karashima and Kachan there, and Kachan is just literally just jumping about and is in #1 spot. Until Deku comes along, gets close to second, but Kachan absolutely hates this, you know, hates the fact that he's there, you know, it's just like, oh, I hate you, you know, why are you there? Oh, I like that. I just like their relationship together. It's fun. Let's just say that. As Deku uses his quirk and like kind of darts about and stuff, Melissa kind of notices and goes, that's kind of like All Might's. But the one that takes it all in the end is Todoroki, and he just completely annihilates everything in one go, which then makes Kachan really angry about it. So I'm glad that he's there. We jump to a very quick scene where the bad guys have arrived on the island, and then we jump into the lab with Dave and All Might, and Dave notices that All Might's quirk is kind of really suppressing going down. It's basically just disappearing completely. But in the end, when percentages are kind of thrown out, All Might knows that at the end of the day, even if he knows that everything is going to be safe in the group of the children, which is again the whole process of the anime. As everything is coming kind of a close to the end of the day, everyone kind of agrees to meet up. So Deku and all that are all going to meet up to go to this kind of party that everyone is going to be there. As they all kind of like separate to kind of go off, Melissa says, hey Deku, can I show you something, which is going to be in her lab? And they kind of wander off. Kachan and Karashima are off to kind of get ready, and then Kachan's like, hey, I don't actually have anything to wear, you know, frick all this. And then Karashima's like, no, I got these for you. Ha ha ha. And then we jump into a scene where Dave is remembering the past. He is talking and thinking about how he met All Might for the first time and how things have kind of progressed with him. So it's kind of a remembering thing. The bad guys have now taken over the tower and they're kind of reprogramming it to suit their way. We find out what Melissa wants to show Deku, and it's basically getting this kind of gauntlet that can make sure that he doesn't get hurt when using One for All. I think they say 3 times he can use it. Basically, when he punches, he won't feel any sort of pain. He can use it up to 100%. And she also kind of gives a backstory on why she wants to help make support items for heroes. Because she's quirkless, she wants to make sure that everyone's okay, and she wants to follow in the footsteps of her father. Suddenly Deku gets a phone call from Tenya, and he's like, where are you? Everyone had to meet at this time. You know, why can no one follow the rules? So when everyone does kind of get ready, again, he is freaking out, going like, where's everyone? And, you know, the girls step in, and the girls look absolutely fantastic. As soon as they're ready to leave for the party, the entire whole island goes into security lockdown mode because it thinks there is a bomb about. With this, the kids are wondering what's going on. We know that the entire island has been taken over completely, so therefore there's no threat, it's just bad guys. We do see the other students from the school, but they're not really in this story much. I think they're just there to be like, oh hey, they're here, they're just going to be, they're background characters of, they were there. Let's say they were there and that's it. We see that the party is in full swing, but because of the lockdown, all the heroes are kind of restrained by this sort of tape that they can't get out of. The bad guys make their plans known and All Might can't do anything. In the end, Deku and the gang have actually found out where All Might is. They're kind of talking to each other in a way, and All Might's like, please don't do this, stay safe, you know, everything will be sorted at some point. But we all know Deku, he's not going to sit around, the others aren't going to sit around, and they don't. They start making a plan to get actually to the top of the building so they can turn off everything and kind of release all the heroes so they're able to help out. The main gist of this, what now happens, is the kids are working their way up. They get up to level 80, where there are 2 other bad guys that have been sent after them. One that can displace matter but looks like wind, and then one guy who can turn it into a purple Hulk and obviously has a lot of strength. This is when Kachan and Kirishima have actually made it to the 80th floor because they got lost. They didn't know where to go for the party, so they went up rather than going down. So a fight kind of breaks out. Todoroki, Kachan and Kirishima are all fighting these 2 bad guys, while all the others are going to the kind of the next level so they can try and escape and so they can unlock the building. Now, one thing I did like with Minanata was that they try and convince him to go through this air shaft or to get outside because he's the only person who can do it. And he's like, no, I'm not going to do it. And then they say, oh, by the way, if you do this, the girls will love you. And he does it. And he's like climbing the building really quickly going, harem, 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 harem. I started laughing at that one because I generally thought it was really funny. As they get to key parts of the levels, they're stopped by sentries. Little robots that are kind of stopping people from using their quirks. They're pretty much, I'm guessing, indestructible. The gang turn around and use different quirks. They send Rucker, they send Deku and Melissa off to kind of like bypass everything because they can start taking on these bad guys, these little drones, so it's easy enough for them to do. Deku, before he leaves, uses his power, is impressed that the gauntlet is actually helping him and he's not feeling any sort of pain from it. So as the rest of them all kind of get to this like next stage, they use Kaminari to actually go overload to make him go stupid, which again, generally really like when they do that. When Uraka, Deku and Melissa are actually on the next stage waiting to kind of figure out how to get to the top, they use Uraka's power to actually make them float. When they start floating, they can starting to get pushed away by the wind. And this is when Kachan, Todoroki and Kirishima, dear God, so many people, bust in, they save the day. And I love the fact that when Todoroki says like, use your power, use this, Kachan's like, oh, hell no, you are not telling me what to do. This then saves Melissa and Deku, and then they get nearer to the top of the building. Deku defeats a bad guy because he hurts Melissa, and then they find out that Dave and Sam are actually the bad guys of the entire project. They are the ones that brought in the bad guys for this. The main bad guy who's on the island now takes a device from Dave, which basically amplifies a quirk by about 3 times. It makes it 3 times stronger and more powerful to use, which is fine. He obviously uses it, takes Dave because he shot Sam. I don't know if Sam dies, but he shoots them both. And then takes Dave with him and says, like, you know, you are going to make more of these devices and I'm going to sell them and I'm going to become super rich. Just before he takes Dave, Deku tries to kind of take them down. Melissa tries to run away, but it kind of doesn't work. Deku kind of gets beaten and slapped around a bit and then suddenly goes around and actually takes down the bad guys to let Melissa unlock the building and actually to get all the heroes about. So when the bad guy has taken Dave, they're about to go on a helicopter. Deku steps in, he has a bit of a fight but gets kind of defeated, and then all of a sudden, as soon as the bad guy and Dave are flying away in a helicopter, it gets busy in this, it gets super busy. So as they're flying about, All Might just comes in, and it's, I think, one of my favorite All Might scenes where he's just like poof, straight up, you know, there is no, it looks like he's flying. So they take down the helicopter, this bad guy puts on the device, and a big, massive fight happens. Dear God, this is a long review. So a huge fight kind of breaks out, and I think, I'm not going to spoil it because there is a lot in this fight, but the fight gave me goosebumps. As soon as they play You Say Run, oh my God, it gave me goosebumps all over. And the monologue that they have over, perfect. I just literally had goosebumps all over. And then the film comes to a conclusion where basically All Might and Dave are talking about the future of the heroes, what's going to happen, blah blah blah. And then that's pretty much it. That's the whole film. Woo! That was a lot. But I have to admit, this was one of the best ones. I saw it in the cinema. I really wish they turned the volume up in the cinema because some of the music was perfect. It felt like I was watching it on a TV at max level, and that was it. So let's talk about the animation. The animation to me was normal. I've noticed that with anime films, they put a lot more money into the budget to make the animation better, to make it stand out. But it felt like I was just generally watching the series, and that was it. And it's not too bad, because if it's going to be in line with all the others, then it's not going to be super sparkly and then back to normal. I felt that the action scenes were perfect in this. I really liked them. The very beginning with All Might at the start, and then to the point at the very end with the big massive climax of the fight. Even when the others were using their quirks and actually beating other bad guys, I generally really liked it, and the animation seemed spot on. All the characters looked absolutely fine. If you've seen the anime, then again, there is major no difference to this. But I generally really liked it. I didn't see any mistakes. I didn't see any, like that doesn't look out of place. And again, I think the fight scenes and the quirks were possibly the ones that pulled everybody in. I think at the very beginning, the animation was starting to go towards like Dragon Ball Super Broly film. I thought it was going to be like, oh, that looks very like it. I think it's the scene where All Might is looking over at the missiles coming. That's the main thing. When watching the film, I was never bored. From start to finish, I was fine with it. I was not bored. And normally when watching these sorts of things, there is a lot there that makes you think, oh, I can't really be bothered watching this, but oh well, it's absolutely fine. So it kept my attention all the way through. So let's talk about the writing. The writing was fine. I didn't find any problems. There was no meh points in this. Everything ran smoothly. Everything was fine. And again, I was happy with how the characters were written. There was no major change from the series that we've had, 1, 2, and 3. So to me, this was something fun. It was interactive. The characters were well written. And I think with Urana-chan as well as Deku, I think they need to get together properly, because now it's getting to the point where she's getting jealous, she's frustrated, he likes her, she likes him. Just getting together in season 4, that's all I want right now. But yeah, the writing was absolutely fine. The story was perfect. And yeah, so I'm going to kind of combine what made it interesting and my final thoughts in this. So I generally really liked everything. The film held my attention. The film generally really made me want to watch it again and again. I liked the story. I liked the characters. I liked the bit of All Might at the very beginning. I kind of really would have liked to have seen more of that, because I think that stands out a lot more and you can see where it is. I know there is an All Might film coming out, so that I'm kind of interested to see. But for me on this one, I think it was absolutely perfect. It was a very interesting storyline. The characters all had equal amount of time. There was enough comedy in it. Now, the kind of thing that I really would want to change is the sound was really low. And I generally thought when I first saw this, the cinema might have just turned down the volume. But I had it on like quite low volume. So when I watched the behind the scenes, the special features, it was loud enough for me to go, oh, okay, this is actually interesting. But then I had to turn the volume up from the film. So it felt like the sound had been pushed way down for no reason. And that to me was kind of a bit sad, like, oh. I really enjoyed the music in this one, and especially near the end when they said like, where they had the main theme, You Say Run. Boom, I generally thought that this was perfect. It gave me goosebumps when the final fight was happening. The bad guys were really interesting as well. You know, it just wasn't a, I'm going to do this and run away. Like they shot 2 people and then kidnapped Dave. So he's going to kidnap Dave. So this kind of like really drew it in, and kind of I was happy with what I'd seen. So yeah, I would highly recommend this. If you're a My Hero Academia fan, get this on special limited edition. I think there's a collector's edition and a standard edition. I would go for the collector's edition. For me, I like the standard edition, but to me, I enjoyed everything about this. I generally thought, yeah, I could easily get into this one. So I could watch the entire series now and then add in the film when need be. And then obviously when the new series comes out, I'm going to be really excited about that one. So yeah, I would highly recommend this. I would definitely get it because it is a great film. It's definitely one for anyone's collection and is possibly one of my favorite films. I just kind of really wish it was louder at times. So Rangers, your question of the day is, what do you think about My Hero Academia 2 Heroes? Is it something that you're interested in? Did you see it at the cinema? What are your thoughts about it? Would you collect it? Yes or no? Let me know down below in the comments. If you've liked this video, like, favorite, comment, and consider subscribing. Hit the notification bell to be notified when more videos drop. And as always, Rangers, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in a bit.